Hey there, welcome to another deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Today we're tackling that age-old struggle, balancing work and family life.
Mm-hmm.
It never seems to get any easier, does it?
It is a challenge most everyone faces at some point in their lives.
Exactly, and that's why we're diving into this Better Up article, 6 tips to balance family and work without sacrificing both.
Okay.
We'll unpack some key strategies to help you feel less like you're juggling chainsaws and more in control.
Sounds good.
Now, this article has 6 tips.
Right.
But to really give you something to chew on, we're going to focus on 1 or 2 in detail
Okay.
and give you some examples to go with them.
I like it.
But first, let's set the stage a bit.
Context is king.
Okay, so right off the bat, the article throws out the idea that work-life balance might actually be a harmful term.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of surprising, right?
Yeah, it is at first glance, but then it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Striving for perfect balance every day is setting yourself up for disappointment because life just isn't that predictable.
It's like trying to walk a tightrope during an earthquake. Nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So the article suggests aiming for integration instead.
Mm-hmm. I like that, yeah.
What do you think about that?
Integration is more about finding a sustainable rhythm over time, not achieving perfect equilibrium every single day.
Yeah,
Think of it like a dance. Sometimes work leads, sometimes family does,
I like that a lot.
but you're always moving together.
So how about we dive into one of the tips that really stood out?
Sure.
The article talks about putting words to the problem, which basically means identifying the specific things that are causing your stress.
This is where journaling can be incredibly powerful, yeah.
Yeah.
It helps you untangle all the thoughts and emotions swirling around in your head and gain some much-needed clarity.
For example, let's say you constantly feel guilty about working late. The article suggests asking yourself,
Right.
when I'm at work, what am I worried about?
And you might realize you're actually worried about missing your kid's bedtime story, not the work itself. That pinpoints the problem, needing more family time in the evening.
I see. And that leads nicely into the next tip we wanted to focus on, talk to your family.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds simple, but it's amazing how often we assume we know what our loved ones need without actually asking.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I do that all the time.
Yeah, and the article gives a great example of someone who always ordered takeout because they worked late,
Yeah.
feeling guilty that their family wasn't getting home-cooked meals.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Right, but when they finally talked to their family, they found out that takeout was fine.
Wow.
What they really missed was simply spending quality time together.
It's a reminder that open communication can help us let go of those self-imposed expectations
For sure.
and find solutions that actually work for everyone.
Exactly. Sometimes the solution is a lot simpler than we think,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's just knowing that you're all on the same team.
Okay, so we've talked about recognizing the problem,
Right.
communicating with our families.
Yes.
Let's move on to the workplace.
Okay. In part 2 of our deep dive.
So we've talked about identifying the root cause of work-family stress
Mm-hmm.
and communicating with our loved ones.
Yes.
Now let's shift gears and explore some strategies for navigating the workplace.
All right. Sounds good.
It's important to remember that both employees and employers have a role to play in creating a more supportive environment.
For sure.
Absolutely. And one of the most important things employees can do is ask for help.
Right.
The article emphasizes that you shouldn't suffer in silence.
Yeah, it's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It's going to pop up eventually.
Yeah, it's going to come out somehow.
Yeah.
The article suggests talking to your manager about flexible schedules, workload adjustments, or any resources the company offers to support employee well-being.
Right.
For example, let's say you're struggling to get everything done
Okay.
because you have to pick up your kids from school every day at 3.0.
Right.
Instead of just gritting your teeth and working late every night, talk to your manager. Maybe they can adjust your deadlines, let you work from home a couple afternoons a week, or even help you find a carpool solution.
Yeah. You might be surprised at how willing your employer is to work with you.
Yeah, and let's face it, a happy and supported employee is a more productive employee.
Oh, absolutely.
It benefits everyone in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not just about individual employees taking action.
Right.
The article also has some great tips for managers on how to foster a more supportive work environment.
Yeah.
One of the things it emphasizes is modeling work-family balance.
Mm-hmm.
Leaders need to walk the talk, not just talk the talk.
Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
If managers are constantly working late, checking emails on vacation, and never taking time off,
Yeah.
it sends a message that self-care is not a priority.
It's like saying, do as I say, not as I do, which never really works.
Exactly. Instead, managers need to show their teams that it's okay to prioritize their well-being by setting healthy boundaries themselves.
What kind of things?
So, for example, a manager could block off time in their calendar for family dinners
Okay.
and make it clear that they won't be checking emails after a certain hour.
Oh, that.
Or they could openly discuss their family commitments and encourage their team to do the same.
Yeah, creating that kind of culture where people feel comfortable being open about their needs can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. It's about creating an environment where people feel supported, not judged.
Yeah.
And that leads nicely into the final tip for managers, which is about fostering a culture of self-care.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
So it's about actively encouraging employees to take breaks,
Okay.
use their vacation time, and disconnect after work hours.
Right.
It could be as simple as reminding people to take a lunch break
Yeah.
or offering a meditation class during the workday.
Oh, that's interesting.
It could also involve creating policies that support work-life integration, like flexible work arrangements or on-site childcare.
The key is to create a work environment where people feel supported and empowered to prioritize their well-being.
Absolutely.
And that benefits everyone, because when employees feel good, they work better.
Right.
It's a win-win.
Exactly. So we've explored tips for both employees and employers, but remember, this is just a taste of what the article offers.
Right.
For the full scoop, be sure to check out the link in the episode description.
Now let's wrap up by distilling some key takeaways and leave you with something to ponder. So we've unpacked a few tips from this article, but what does it all really mean for you?
Well, one thing that struck me is how much this whole work-family integration thing is about shifting your mindset.
Oh, okay.
It's not about achieving some perfect balance,
Right.
but finding what works for you and your unique situation.
It's like finding the right recipe.
Yeah,
You might have to tweak the ingredients a bit to get the flavor just right.
exactly. And that's where experimentation comes in.
Okay.
The article encourages trying different strategies and seeing what sticks.
So if blocking off time in your calendar for family dinners doesn't work, maybe you try having a no devices rule during meals instead.
Right. Or maybe you realize that working from home 2 days a week is actually more stressful than being in the office.
Yeah.
It's all about finding that sweet spot where you feel productive and fulfilled both at work and at home.
The article makes a really important point about this not being a one-time fix. Our lives are constantly changing, so our needs and priorities will change too.
It's like navigating a winding river.
Okay.
You have to adjust your course as you go to avoid the rocks and stay on track.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your partner, your family, your friends, even your colleagues. Sharing your experiences and challenges can be incredibly helpful.
Sometimes just voicing your struggles out loud can make them feel less overwhelming. Plus, you might get some great advice or support from those around you.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but the Better Up article goes even deeper with more tips and strategies.
Yeah.
We've included a link in the episode description so you can check it out for yourself.
I highly recommend giving it a read. It's full of actionable advice and inspiring examples that can help you create a more fulfilling and sustainable work-family life.
Then remember, this is just the beginning of your journey.
Right.
Finding that sweet spot takes time, effort, and a willingness to keep learning and adapting.
It's a process, not a destination. But trust me, it's a journey worth taking.
Yeah.
Because when you find that balance, or should I say integration, it can transform your life.
And on that note, we wrap up this deep dive into work-family integration.
Great conversation.
We hope you found it valuable, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit liberating.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep striving to create a life that feels both balanced and authentically yours.
See you in the next deep dive.